Welcome everybody to Deb's Thing. This is Debbie with a new design, and this is a recent creation as opposed to the 160 or so that I had already come up with before I started making videos on them. And I don't want to sound presumptuous using the name Extraordinaire, so let me explain why I chose that name. As you know, one of my recent creations was Eyelet, which really received a lot of good response, and I was, very appreciative of that. And then, as I explained, that inspired. I thought, how perfect a name. All I did was added a fourth band, a deep color, which is the metallic purple here, and I'm up with a completely different design. So when I was looping this back, I got into my head, I wonder if so using the exact same layout of the bands as in Inspired, I came up with Extraordinaire. Now, Extraordinaire is also French, well, I guess one of it was, never mind, forget it. I did that serviette, and that's why I was on the French thing, so Extraordinaire is also French. And my point was that it's so extraordinary that you can take something and just make the slightest change and come up with a completely different look. And that's what I think so extraordinary about coming up with your own designs on the Rainbow Loom. So let's go. I'm going to actually use the same colors as I did with Inspired, so that after we can compare them and see, exactly how differently, the colors lay out. So our color A is going to be the Sweets Pink, which you cannot see as well as I hoped. I mean, it's very obviously on the back, but it peeks out a little bit there. And so the B color is maroon, C is white, and the D is the metallic purple, which is just an awesome color. I love that shade of purple. It's on the periwinkle blue side of purple as opposed to the violet blue, which is reddish, or like the maroon is reddish. I mean, I like maroon too, but my favorite are the blue-purple family. So let's get going. We'll start by placing one band for our extension later on, just for easy access, or a little bit easier anyways. And we are going to just go straight up all the way to the end with the sweets, which they're a little resistant. They're kind of like sticky, and they're a little hard to put on, so I'm just going to go off camera and put them on. Alrighty. Now that we have the A bands placed, we will start doing the B and C. If you remember, in Extraordinaire and Eyelet, the band placement, whoops, I grabbed the wrong color here. Let's see. So we do this with the B. I'm just kind of going by memory here. I think it'd stay fresh in my head because I just did these recently, but other things come into my brain and other things go out. So as you saw, I placed a B here and here, and a B, then the C, B, and C, and you will go all the way up to a B here, a C here, and then another B to that end. My fingernails look so dirty on screen. I'm so sorry, but I cleaned them just before I got on this It's so irritating. Yeah, I think that bothers me more than the pain. Ha ha ha. Vanity, right? It always rules. Okay, back to business. We put a B on this side. I'm just showing you a few on this side so that you can see the mirror image of on the left. And so it's going to be B and then C all the way up until you get to here, and then you will do your B band from this one to this one, then your C from here to here, and then you can do one B to this middle peg. And if that confuses this last one here, you can wait and I'll show you it when I get back on it. So B, B, C, B, C, and it's B, C all the way up. So here is the loom with your A, B, and C colored bands. And your last two bands will be the B from this side and then on this side. And then our last bands are our awesome purple metallic, the D color. We will just be going up each side like this, all the way up to your last two empty pegs, and then you will do the same on this side. Very simple. And then I will show you the slight variation in looping it back that makes the bracelet completely unique. I was going to name it Unique, but I thought Extraordinaire sounded cooler. If any of you did the inspired bracelet in these same colors, this should look very familiar. But here you have a completely finished loaded loom. The only thing we are going to do now is place our cap band, which is a doubled over. I just twist it and then push it over with my thumb. You guys can do the double over and stretch it over, or use looping it over the hook if you need to. So now we will spin it around and I will show you a few sections, sequences, and then we get to pull it off and see how fun this looks in this awesome color scheme. So we take the C band, yeah, the C goes, oh, you know what, oops, back up, my bad. I'm going to switch it around, switch it over. Oh, why didn't you guys tell me? I was supposed to use my B color, not my C. None of you spoke up, did you? Oh, you're not even telling me when I'm off, go out of frame too. Either. Wish we kind of had that back and forth, kind of like teleconferencing. That wouldn't, I don't know how that would work. So I replace those with a proper color and pop on my cap, turn it around. Oh, this is so deja vu. Alrighty, now we will take our B band, pull it out, and bring it up to the left because that was the one on top, and then to the right, and then reach down and bring the A band. Now this is where on Inspired and the eyelet that did not have the D, we looped the C up to here and then the B over to there. Well, and then Inspired we lastly looped the D. On this one we are looping the D first. So we loop both D's to their outer home post, and then we were to reach under here, grab the C band and bring it straight up. And then the B band, instead of going to its home up here, we were going to take it to the center. And I'm going to look up and make sure I have it. Alright. I'm going to find something that's going to reassure me that each time I set this up, I know where my center is on the camera. Okay, so this is the sequence. 1, you pull A straight up. Step 2 is you take D bands. Step 3, you do the C straight up. And then finally the 4th step is B to the center. Okay. I'll show you one more time. Grab the A, that's the first thing. Second, we do the D. Now, somebody wanted me to try to zoom in a little bit closer. Can't go that close. I think this is as close as I can get. I'm sorry. Okay, so back to the second step of placing our D, and then we will reach and get our C. My alarm on my stove is going off, so my daughter's going to be knocking on the door right now. I hear her coming. So anyways, 1 is A, 2 is the D colored, 3rd step is the C straight up, and then the D to the middle. Okay? Okay. Now I've completed the last full sequence, and we have 3 bands left. So you grab A here and the B's on either side, and we will be ready to add our extension and pull it off and make a comparison. I'm excited. I love this bracelet. I love most of my bracelets, but some I like more than others, and this was another surprise in my eyes. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, if you noticed, you know, the only difference, I mean, the D was still looped outward as in inspired. It was just the order. Instead of going from A, C, B, D, it went from A, D, C, B. That's all I did was put the D at the beginning of the lineup after pulling the A forward, as opposed to at the end. That's the only difference between this and the inspired bracelet. So now let's grab a hold of our first extension band. And if you want to, you know, if you're doing it the way you're familiar with, that's fine too. I just started doing it this way, and now I prefer it. Okay, I'm going to add 4 more bands on this side. And put the clip on. If you haven't done this before, it takes a little while, or this manner of adding. Why is this twisting? Okay, they're twisting a little, so there it goes. So you're going to turn your hook upside down, leave slack on these 2 loops here, and very gently pull your band through those 2 loops. And of course turn your hook upside up so that the band stays on. 1, 2, 4, I got 1 more to do. Yeah, on the last bracelet I just did, serviette, I put like this many bracelet extension bands. The thing was so huge I had to take almost all of them off. Okay, so what I do is I try to go in, and it's really hard to do because as you may have already learned, these sweets do not have a lot of stretch and they're easy to snap. So I put the clip on and now we get to pull it off. And I have found that some designs, as a lot of you see, I ease it off a lot of the pins because it's too hard for my hands to pull off. But on the smaller ones, and you definitely want to do your best to pull it off. Don't do it too much to the left or too much to the right. Here's the back side, and here's the front side. And let's see what we have here. Okay, I'm just taking a minute to look and compare the stitching. I guess that's what it's, is that called stitching? The looping, to see the difference. And as you can see where the purple is very prominent here, which if you like purple, may like this one better. And I also found if like this one slightly sticks out a little bit too much, you can just go under and find where it came from and pull it back, and that'll give it placement. Now, I actually like the colors of this one better on this design than the colors here. I think the white is a little too dominant. I mean, it's striking, but I like that it peeked out, peeks out here and there as to being a dominant color. So it's just playing around, but I did want to do it in the exact order so that you could see it. But if I hadn't seen this one and the dominant purple, I would just love this one just as much. I like this one just as much as this one, only because it's got different colors, and I like the way the green stands out on this. I love that shade of green. So what do you think? Let me know. I love hearing from you. I love seeing your take on my designs when you use your own color schemes. It's just amazing to see how different the bracelets can look just by changing the colors. Although I should say on this one you get to see the pretty sweets pink. That one definitely shows up where it's unfortunately hidden, where if I'd used a brighter color, I mean, you can see it, it would have popped through. If it was like the neon green or something, you would have definitely seen nice little pops of color. So it's just trial and error. And if you really like the design itself, basic design itself, then you can just go try it in another series of colors. And so for the rest of the extension, I'm going to place 4 on here because I always count the cap as one of the extensions. And I place the cap over the last pin, stretch it so that you have easy access to grabbing the band, and just quickly loop these. I thank everybody for your comments of concern considering for my hands. I finally got my referral, supposedly for a second opinion dermatologist, and they wound up referring me to the same dermatologist. How screwy is that? Oh my goodness. So Monday comes, guess what I got to do? Hooray. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep that out of my brain and enjoy my bracelets. Okay. And you know what? It looks great on this side too, don't you think? I mean, some designs just, there's no way they can, are they reversible? And I like this one. I don't think it's completely as nice as the other side, but here you have my extraordinaire. Extraordinaire, it's extraordinary because just changing the order of the bands made a completely different looking bracelet. If you enjoyed this, share it with your friends and let me know And of course, if you want to see any of my new designs coming up in the future, be sure to subscribe to Deb's Thing.
Thank you very much for watching.
Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Deb's Thing. Today the bracelet I'm going to be doing, Blossoms in Heaven, is my tribute bracelet to the passengers on flight MH17. A woman, someone on Instagram, Tied Knots, asked everybody to start making yellow and black bracelets as a memorial to all the souls that were lost, and to add a little butterfly charm for the over 80 little children, infants and children who perished. I think this is really sweet, and I sat down and asked God to guide me and give me an idea. And the first thing that came to me was my Squiggle Mania bracelet. I thought that was very childlike in design. And then I thought of the very first bracelet I made on the Rainbow Loom, which happens to be the most popular or most watched, viewed video for all the Rainbow Looms, and that's the Starburst bracelet. So I worked and did a couple sections, and I looped it back, and this is what came out. All I could say was, wow, God. I got goosebumps and chills. They're flowers. And what are butterflies more attracted to than flowers? So I did a couple of practice bracelets. This is the first one with these loops all the way out. And this is the same bracelet, and I just allowed these to be a little messy. This is more like a daisy, and what is this, a peony or something, or carnation. So I think either way is cute. They can tend to be a little finicky and want to get out of shape, but it's just real easy just to turn it around. So it pops out like this. You just turn it around till the twisted part is back on the top, and it holds it together just like that. So I will show you now how to make this. Of course, it will be in yellow and black. We will start by placing one black band for the extension later on, and then we'll do one section as the Starburst does, this kind of, six-sided figure here. And then starting at the 2 o'clock position, we are going to take the yellow and twist it. Then we will take the black and place it over. Grab our hook. And I guess this is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the fishtail, right? Is that called fishtail loop? Which is how I did the little Squiggle Mania. And so you're going to continue around the flower with a Starburst, and loop around each one. This does take a little time to do, but it's not difficult, and I think just about everybody's done the Starburst. It's got 23,575,000 views, something like that. So I'm pretty sure just about anybody who's done looming has probably made that bracelet. So this should be familiar to you, because the looping back is exactly how you would do it. It's just the step here, I think, is different. Now on this one, because it's, again, I'm saying on the one that's the 6 o'clock position, do this side first, because it's one, if you do this one first, it's kind of hard to grab this side. It's all kind of bunched in there. So I just loop over this one first, and then this one. And if possible, try to keep them all like this and not rolling over. it'll just help lock them in place like this a little bit better. But you know, if you like the messier look, you don't have to worry about keeping them as aligned. So we are going to continue to do this. I know this is kind of lengthy instructions, especially since I kind of rambled on a little bit. But I wanted to explain myself. And then, you know, as I was thinking about it all, it's like, as Tied Knot says, that the butterflies represent the infants and children. Well, those butterflies aren't here on Earth anymore, so they can't fly up and smell a flower here on Earth anymore, because they've flown off to heaven. So they get to enjoy the blossoms in heaven, right? That's why I came up with a name, and I can't think about it too much. I have 6 children, and I don't think not saying my grief would be more if I was one who had lost all my children, but to think of grieving 6 souls that I love more than anything on earth, I can't. It feels so much sorrow. The people who lose their children, lose their loved ones. I had a tragic loss when I was 16, so I know the pain. But anyways, this is a memorial, so we have to remember the good things, and the joy, and the laughter. And they do indeed have blossoms in heaven to enjoy. All they have in heaven now is joy. So that's the good part. So as you can see, I'll just finish up this one section, and you're just going to continue to do this all the way up. Just gently looping it over, trying to keep it just like that. Well, actually not like that, not like that. So the twist is on the bottom. It just kind of helps it from being, helps it to be less messy. Okay, again on this one, you are going to want to reach and do this side first, because there's nothing, it's kind of blocked if you do this one first from grabbing. It makes it a little more difficult to dig in there. Of course, you want to push it down as you go, so you have more room. And I know I'm just big on twisting everything the same direction, so it's a counterclockwise twist. Now it doesn't matter because you can easily reach both ends of the yellow. Notice I haven't done it in these bands yet, and you know, each color seems to have its own unique way of, you know, holding itself together as a bracelet, so it'll be interesting to see how the yellow and black react, because obviously, you know, I used opaque on this, although I think these mangoes is halfway between opaque and jelly, and these are jelly bands where the yellow will be, so the jelly bands are definitely more finicky about staying in their proper places, so I decided just to give it the mussied up look, so I don't have to worry about always straightening those up. So it'll be interesting to see how the yellow reacts. So this will be the last one I'm going to show you. I'm sorry I'm taking long, but it's pretty heavy. Think about all that's happened and the sorrow, and oh yes, Should have done this one first. It makes it a little harder, but there you go. So there's a total of 6 of these, you know, little sections all the way up. So just keep doing that until you're at the very end, and then I'll show you quickly how to loop it back. But you know, oh yeah, and you also, while you're at it, might as well just throw on a cap, a black cap on the center of each one of these. I call it starburst because I've turned them into flowers. So in the center of each flower, you're definitely going to want to do that. And I will show you, you know, how to loop it back, although I think most of you already know.